All rise. The Court of the Second Judicial Circuit, Criminal Division is now in session. The Honorable Judge Opal Huffey presiding.
Everyone but the jury may be seated. Miss Abby, please stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly listen to this case and render a true verdict and a fair sentence as to this defendant? Yes. You may be seated.
Members of the jury, your duty today will be to determine whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based only on facts and evidence provided in this case. The prosecution has the burden of proving the guilt of the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt. This burden remains on the prosecution through the trial. The prosecution must prove that a crime was committed and that the defendant is the person who committed the crime. However, if you are not satisfied with the defendant's guilt to that extent, then reasonable doubt exists and the defendant must be found not guilty. Ms. Abby, what is today's case?
Your Honor, today's case is the State of Oregon versus Cy Miles. The defendant is accused by the grand jury of Chinook County of the crimes Count 1, manslaughter in the first degree, and Count 2, disorderly conduct in the second degree.
Is the prosecution ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
We are, Your Honor.
You may proceed with your opening statements. The prosecution will go first in giving their statements, followed by the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case about revenge. May it please the court, my name is Harper Perry, and I will present the opening statement to my client, the State of Oregon. This case involves the vengeful mindset of Cy Miles after leaving the band to Destination Conflagration. After quitting the band, Miles wanted revenge on her ex-band partner, Marlo Hubbard, because she didn't get full rights to their songs. Miles got her revenge at the Digby Theater on October 26, 2019, the day Destination Conflagration was scheduled to perform their first show without Miles. Miles was seen at the theater before the show, messing with the side exit and stage pyrotechnics. She later made a post on Facebook under the name Cynical Songwriter. The post hinted at a bomb threat at the Digby Theater during Destination Conflagration's performance. When the concert goers saw the post and heard a loud explosion from the pyrotechnics, a stampede ensued. The crowd rushed for the exits, only to find the side door jammed, adding to the panic. With the side door blocked, the crowd flocked towards the main exit, and in the rush to get out of the building, Janet Jobson was trampled to death. We will call 3 witnesses to support our position that Cy Miles is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree and disorderly conduct in the second degree. Our first witness will be Marlo Hubbard, who will tell you that she saw Miles at the side exit of the theater before the show, messing with something in her pocket. This testimony will support our position that Miles jammed the side exit, adding to the rush towards the main exit that consequently ended in Janet Johnson's death. The next witness we will call is Jet Jones, who will tell you that he saw Miles working on the stage pyrotechnics prior to the show. This testimony will support that Miles caused the pyrotechnics to explode, further adding to the terror after the bomb threat was seen. Our final witness will be Frankie Zapata, a deputy who will explain to you the search history and IP address on Miles' phone. This final testimony will prove that Miles had the mindset, intent, and ability to commit this crime. Through these witnesses, we will show that Miles committed manslaughter by blocking the side exit which led to the death of Janet Jobson, and disorderly conduct through the bomb threat post and pyrotechnic explosion. At the end of the trial, we are certain that you will decide Cy Miles is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree and disorderly conduct in the second degree. Thank you.
May it please Your Honor, members of the jury, my name is Marcus Goen, presenting the opening statement of the defendant in this case. The state of Oregon has charged Cy Miles with manslaughter in the first degree and disorderly conduct in the second, in connection with the tragic death of Ms. Jobson. I tell you today, members of the jury, that Cy Miles is simply not guilty of these charges. The condemnation of disorderly conduct is built on the foundation that Cy Miles posted the threat, an act that she cannot be proven guilty of with the evidence at hand. There is no proof that, without the proof of this condemnation, there is no proof that Cy should be guilty of the horrible death of Ms. Jobson. It is always a painful experience when a fellow human dies, more so when they pass at such a young age as 27. And the human race has often been known to make accusations grounded on little evidence when setbacks come upon us. It is this situation that my client has become the unfortunate and unfair victim of. I bid you to remember, ladies and gentlemen, who the burden of proof lies on in this case. You must rule in favor of Cy Miles if you have any doubt in your mind about Cy Miles' guilt in this case. Cy learned an early lesson about fire from a mistake she made in high school, one that she has not since made and will not make again. This mistake caused the building to burn down, and she immediately took responsibility for it. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have an incident involving the death of a fellow human. Members of the jury, as mankind, we hold the value of human life to be priceless. Cy Miles felt guilt over the loss of her ability. How much more would she feel guilt over the death of a human? And yet she pleads not guilty in this case. If she pled guilty before, she would do so now if it were true. Especially when the unintended consequences are so much worse. Destination Conflagration, band that Cy and Marlowe started, began with a pact that Marlowe broke by adding special effects to their live performances. If Cy had gotten her way in this argument, there never would have been pyrotechnics at the Digby Cabin. Prosecution would have you believe that Cy Miles is the owner of the account, cynical songwriter. But this accusation is founded solely on the fact the first two letters of the account name match Cy's name, and that it was created on the 26th at the Digby. The idea that we should condemn her to manslaughter for such thin evidence as this is pure absurdity. The Digby was holding a concert. There were hundreds of people there. Any one of them could be the owner of that account. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence will show the account's cynical songwriter was deleted the 31st of October, after Cy deleted her account and had her phone confiscated from her. Frankie Zapata accused Cy of owning the disputed account because it was deleted before he took it. Members of the jury, this simply does not make sense. The evidence will also show that it was Jet Jones who saw the post, interpreted it as a bomb threat, and thus reposted it, causing the crazed panic that ultimately led to the death of Ms. Jobson. There clearly was no bomb in the Digby, and a pyrotechnics failure can hardly be called one. It's likely that the post was no threat at all. Today you will hear from three witnesses. You will hear from Cy Miles herself, who will tell you that she has learned from past errors and that she had no motive to hurt anyone. From Stevie Raven, who will, a fan who saw Jet spreading the panic, and Ari Frankel, the building inspector, who will inform you of pre-existing safety hazards at the Digby. room limit may have been surpassed. Once you have heard all that testimony and every piece of evidence, I ask you, think about what is sensible and what is logical. I tell you today, it is not logical that Sai is in any way guilty of the charges pressed against her. The evidence provided against her is weak and full of holes. Are we really debating if we should send someone to prison over this? You must remember, ladies and gentlemen, who the burden of proof lies upon. You must rule in favor of Sai Miles if you have even the slightest sliver of reasonable doubt about her guilt. At the end of this trial, I ask you to submit a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Prosecution, you may call your first witness.
Prosecution would like to call Marla Hubbard for the stand.
Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the court?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Tell me about your professions and how you got involved with Miles.
I am the lead vocalist, lead guitarist, and band manager for Destination Conflagration, the band that I founded with Sai Miles. I first met Sai in the summer of 2017 when we were both playing solo gigs at Buddy's Burgers. She played right after I did, and I was very impressed by the way she played, so I talked to her afterwards, and after a while we decided to start a band together. And we decided to start a band, one that would, stay true to our roots, because we both like folk music a lot, and that's what we play, but that would still come with a little extra panache. And so we signed a contract that said that we would have equal rights to the songs we wrote, and that we could perform them individually or as a group.
Explain the circumstances that led to Miles' departure from Destination Conflagration.
When our band was first founded, we were mostly still playing at Buddy's Burgers, and that was really fun for a while. And then eventually I managed to get us in at a nicer place called the Coho Club. And our sound had worked fine at Buddy's Burgers, but the Coho Club had a little bit of higher expectations. And so I made the executive decision to add an electric keyboard player to our ensemble. And, everyone thought that was a great idea and it sounded great. But Sai did not like it and was, grumbling about it, saying it was ridiculous. But I didn't really think of anything of it because Sai overreacts to a lot of things. So I was like, well, it'll probably be fine.
What happened after Miles left the band?
So, Sai Miles, she left the band after we had played at the Digby Theater once, and a woman named Jessica Gallagher approached us afterwards, after we played, and we were in the artist lounge. And she was from a record label that went, and the boss was considering signing us, but thought that we needed a little more, pizzazz. And I said that that was fine, we could do that, but Sai did not like that idea and said so. And she said that she would not degrade her songs with, lights and smoke and stuff like that. And so I exchanged phone numbers with Miss Gallagher, and then she left, and then I tried to talk to Sai about it, but she said that she refused to do that to the lyrics that she poured her heart and soul into. And then she stormed off and said that contract or not, she wouldn't let me do that. After Sai left the band. And then, so after Sai left, I called Miss Gallagher back and informed her that Sai had left the band. And I learned that she had gotten us, she had gotten us a show to play at the Digby Theater for the Can You Dig It concert, and we were going to be playing after in between the Septemberists and Faye Moni. And so, yeah, and we were going to be playing there on October 26th.
Explain what happened before the concert.
So the day of the concert, I was pretty nervous for it, and so I pretty much just camped out in the artist lounge the entire day. And I did 2 hours before the concert, I popped up to the stage to do a sound check, and I saw someone running hurriedly off the stage, and when they turned around, I saw that it was Sai. So I was kind of confused as to why Sai was there, but I knew I had to focus on the sound check, so I just put that out of my mind. But at one point while I was working on the sound check, I did notice that Sai was standing by the side door and fiddling around with something in her pocket, but I didn't really think anything of it at the time.
How would you describe Miles' character? Explain what was happening during the concert.
So a few minutes into our set, I noticed that some people in the crowd were like pushing for the exits, were looking at their phones. And then there was suddenly an explosion behind me, and there was a wave of heat, and there was lights and a bunch of smoke, and it seems like there was like burning like construction paper everywhere. And I actually thought for a second that I was going to die. But after a little bit, I realized that I was okay. And I looked up and saw that people were completely panicking and rushing for the exits, but the side exit wasn't opening for some reason. And so I saw how chaotic it was, so I dropped my guitar and I ran back to the artist lounge until the stampede was over. And afterwards, I did learn that Janet Jobson died, and she was one of our biggest fans and had come to all of our concerts, so I was very heartbroken.
How would you describe Miles' character?
I would say that she has a very intense personality, both in her personality is very intense and also in the way she plays. She's a very intense character. She's also extremely stubborn, which can be a good thing, but sometimes it causes some disagreements between us. And she's also quite temperamental, so she definitely has her quirks.
So what we have heard from this is that there is a lot of tension between Laurel Hubbard and Miles. It is not difficult to imagine that Miles, who is easily pushed to anger, could have decided to take matters into their own hands and get revenge. We keep it going.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
So, can you explain again for the jury what you were doing approximately 2 hours before the performance at the Digby Theater?
I was doing a sound check.
Was there anyone with you during this sound check?
Sai was around, but I was doing a sound check by myself.
And where was the sound check? Where were you doing the sound check?
I was just doing it. It was just on the stage because that's where the pyrotechnics and stuff are.
And later, during the show, where did the bang come from?
It came from behind me.
What was behind you?
The pyrotechnics.
So the pyrotechnics were on the stage, and when did the bang go off?
A few minutes into when we were playing.
So you mentioned that you made the
board and later the pyrotechnics, and you mentioned that no one objected but Cy. And when Cy responded, when Cy expressed concern about the additions, how did you respond?
Well, everyone was fine with it, as I said, and we did need a little more extra things for our sound, so I said, well, Cy, we're going to do this anyway, because I'm the band manager and I'm making this decision as the band manager.
How did you interpret the contract that both you and Cy Miles signed?
I interpret it to mean that the songs that both of us, either of us wrote, the band had the right to play that, and that either of us could play it when we were in the band, or if one of us was not in the band, the other one could still play it.
Do you recall exactly what the contract said?
That we had equal rights to the songs that we wrote, and we could perform them individually or as a group.
Thank you. Yeah. So you mentioned that the songs that you wrote together were the ones that you got equal rights to, right? And the songs that you were playing, were those the ones, did you have anything to do with the creation of those songs?
I did not say specifically the songs that we wrote together, just the songs that we wrote. And some of those songs were songs that I wrote, some of them were the ones we wrote together, some of them were ones that I wrote.
Can I submit exhibit 1 to the So it's not just the songs that you write together, you said, right?
I just said the songs that we wrote.
Do you want to read the exhibit and tell me what it actually says?
I, Martha Hubbard, and I, Cy Miles, agree that we'll each have equal rights in the songs that we write together as Destination Conflagration, the rockingest band that ever existed. Signed, Cy Miles and Martha Hubbard.
You also mentioned that some of the songs that you were performing were written by Cy Miles and not you.
Yes, that's true.
And yet you maintained that you had rights to those songs, despite that you had not written them together, as the contract says.
Yes, those were some of my rights to those songs.
Can you please explain what musically you did directly before your participation in Destination Conflagration, and can you explain how that was?
Well, before we created the band, I was just playing by myself.
Can you explain for the members of the jury how being a solo artist was, how the experience affected you?
Frankly, it was kind of sucky. You don't get paid very much as a solo artist, so that was not fun.
And is there any reason that you might need to participate in a band to be able to support yourself?
You get paid more if you're in a band generally. I mean, if your band is successful. And you need more money so you can support yourself, have a house, pay for your food.
And with Cy Miles not being convicted, but being thought to have committed manslaughter, would that negatively affect your band at all?
If Cy was in our band, that might negatively affect our band, but Cy is not in the band anymore.
Can I read you some? Okay. Can I submit my work letters after this? Can you read the thing in the highlighted for the members of the jury, please? Or, well, the sentence highlighted.
I just hope that Cy finally gets what's coming to Cy, both for Janet's sake and for the sake of Destination Conflagration's future.
So would you say that there's any reason that you might want Cy convicted for the good of Destination Conflagration's future?
Well, I mean, it might reflect badly on the band.
No further questions.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your second witness. Will the witness please give sworn to the witness? Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Chip Jones, may you please describe your occupation and how you got acquainted with Cy Miles?
I'm a music journalist for Rock and Roll Today, a period music magazine for real. I'm also a music super fan. And I met Cy at the Coho Club when she was performing one night, and then we started exchanging Facebook messages, and then I repost her posts.
Thank you. How are you involved in the Digby incident?
When I was at the Digby Theater, I was tagged in a Facebook post for Cynical Songwriter, and then I interpreted it as a bomb threat, and then I reposted it on my own page to warn concert goers, and then I left the theater.
Thank you. What do you think of Marlo Hubbard?
I think she's the wild, flashy, larger-than-life, in-your-face kind of band leader, and she's not always perfectly honest, but they really do applaud an entertaining show.
Thank you. Describe what you were doing on October 26, 2019.
I went to the Digby Theater 2 hours early to see if I could get an interview with Cy or Marlo. And when I arrived there, Cy was on the stage, holding a wrench, fiddling with a black box near the drum kit. From what I know, that's a pyrotechnic effect. And Cy came down to the stage, told me to check my messages and make sure I don't miss tonight's show. And then she left.
Thank you. When and what mood change did you see in Cy Miles leading up to October 26th?
It was late 2018, and Cy and Marlo, definitely, everyone could see a tension between them. It was right after Marlo made the executive decision to add electronic keyboard, and Cy did not like that decision. She even went as far as rolling her eyes or sticking out her tongue during electric keyboard solos. And in one of their arguments, I overheard them saying, Cy told Marlo, "I would not let you destroy songs that I've written," and then she stormed off.
Thank you. Did you think that your Facebook post could inflict harm on others?
I was only trying to warn the other concert goers of the possible bomb threat, and I did not think that it would harm others, or could lead to harm to others.
Thank you. Jury, I'd like to leave you with the facts that you just heard. Jet saw Cy messing with the pyrotechnics on the stage before the concert. Also, you know that Miles was upset at Marlo and kind of unapproachable leading up to the Digby incident. Finally, you know that Cy made a threat about not letting Marlo Hubbard ruin his songs. Thank you.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Is it true that in your affidavit you said there was a threat to burn down the concert hall? Yes. I would like to submit a piece of evidence. Could you please read Cynical Songwriter's post? Cynical Songwriter wrote, "Hey Jet Jones, you might want to cover the story about tonight's Destination Conflagration show at the Digby. I heard Cy Miles isn't going to be there, and the band is going to bomb, in more ways than one. The crowd should get out of there as quick as they can before the fireworks start, otherwise someone might get hurt." Now, he does not write, they do not write that there is any attempt to burn down the theater, and that could have just been a euphemism. Now, are you positive that Cynical Songwriter is Cy? I believe so, yes. Now what evidence do you have that Cy is Cynical Songwriter? First of all, the first two letters in Cynical Songwriter are Cy, Cy Miles, and also the account was created at the Digby Theater at the same time as the show, while Cy was there. Now, didn't you report in your affidavit that you would reflexively click the repost button and it would go to your 7,000 followers and would megaphone size media appearance? Yes, I did. Now, if you have 7,000 followers, that post would have gone to a lot of people, causing a lot of panic at the Digby. Thank you, that is all.
Witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
We would like to call for use of monitoring statement.
The witness please stand to be sworn in by the bailiff.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
What is your name and where do you work?
I am Brandy Zapata. I work at the Chinook County Sheriff's Office.
What were Cy and Jet's reactions when you questioned them?
They were both kind of odd. Cy just kept looking down at his phone. Jet wasn't too weird about it, but he just didn't have much to say. And every time a notification would come up, his eyes would just blow up.
I would like to submit exhibit 4. Now can you tell me what things did Cy Miles look up?
He looked up Home Depot, gas station, Duckington, criminal threats, and criminal penalty threats.
Explain what you found on Cy Miles' phone.
I found a lot of evidence that could support his guilt, like all of the things he searched up and when they were searched up and where.
Explain Cy's internet history.
he connected to the Digby Theater on October 26th, and he connected, like, it showed that she was at the Digby Theater because it had, like, the IP address.
And what things was Sai doing on her phone?
I'm not too sure, but she kept, like, playing around with it and looking up things that could possibly, like, cover her guilt.
Now, you've seen that Sai Miles looked up some pretty hard, she looked up what were the criminal penalties for threats. That's pretty serious.
The defense will cross-examine witness.
Did your forensic analysis of Sai's phone reveal any Facebook activity?
Yes, I think proven by the search history and like the location of where she was, her IP address showed that, and all of her search history showed that she took it.
Could you please look at the bottom row of the exhibit that you're currently holding? And what is the title of that bottom row?
October 19th at 10:15 p.m. Jimmy Page, 1959, Les Paul, number 1 price.
Sorry, the one below the search history.
App data, Facebook.
And in the column for Sai, what activity is on there?
Andromeda smartphone V4140.
On the Facebook column, the Sai row, what activity is it?
Added accounts, Jet Jones.
Which column is that on?
Digby unsecured Wi-Fi. And
So, I'm looking for the left column, second to left column, bottom row. What does it say?
search history or app data,
Bottom row.
Facebook. App data,
Facebook.
Facebook.
And the one right next to it says, and that was for Sai, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so does Sai have any Facebook activity?
Yes.
And what is that Facebook activity? What is the word that it says right there?
No.
Okay, thank you. And, do you think that Sai, so you talked to Jet. Could you tell me, what Jet was more interested in? His Facebook story, like, as he says, or, the dying person?
He was more interested in his story, like he posted on October 26th.
You said in your affidavit that Jet's behavior was ridiculous. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, he acted really like nervous and odd. He just like wouldn't make too much eye contact or anything.
Was he looking at anything as a result of this ridiculous behavior?
Yes, his phone.
Did he say what he was checking?
She said that she was checking like her story.
See how many likes it got?
No, I didn't. I can't remember.
Do you think that this behavior and obsession with a Facebook story might cause somebody to not think about their actions too hard? Like reposting a post?
Yes, I think yeah.
Thank you, that is all.
The witness may step down. Does the prosecution have any more witnesses?
Prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Defense, you may call your first witness.
Would you like to call someone else?
Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the bailiff?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Describe for us the beginning of your partnership with previous fellow band member Marlo Hubbard.
We met at a free gig at Buddy's Burgers and Grill. I liked Milo's stage presence and apparently she liked mine too because she approached me after the show and proposed we start a band.
Describe your falling out with Marlo.
In 2017, Marlo hired an electric keyboardist without consulting me. I thought he'd hear my music, but I didn't tell Marlo at the time. Around a year ago, I was thinking about leaving Destination Conflagration, but I hadn't told anyone yet. After a very big gig for us, a record producer approached us and wanted to help us add more pizzazz to our sound, including synthesizers and special effects. I hated the idea, but Marlo immediately agreed with her. Sorry. We got into a big argument after where I left the band.
What did you discuss during the argument after the opening performance for Sturgeon Sampson at the Digby?
After the record producer left, Marlo told me that our contract entitled her to use all of the songs, all of Destination Conflagration songs, even the ones I had written before we met. I told her that wasn't true, and she laughed and told me that I'd never be able to prove that I wrote them before the band. I was thinking about hiring an intellectual property lawyer, but I never did.
When you arrived at the Digby around the time of the sound check, what did you do? What did you see?
I arrived and tried to enter through the side exit, or the side door, but it was jammed. I could tell it wasn't locked because it opened a few inches, but not any further. Once I entered through the main door, I saw Marlo on stage messing with a black box that was pouring out smoke. She was using an adjustable screwdriver, a screwdriver and an adjustable wrench. I didn't see anyone else in the theater at the time.
Explain what happened at the Borough High School auditorium the year you graduated from Hamilton High School.
I was on Hamilton's pep squad, which Borough's pep squad had recently pranked. We wanted to bring them back, so we mixed multiple fireworks together and launched at them as they left our auditorium. The auditorium burned down. The judge, we pleaded guilty to first-degree arson, and I completed my sentence without consequence, I completed my sentence. I learned my lesson completely, and it was a huge mistake. I just wanted to be judged in this case for something I did when I was 15.
What happened to your finger?
I hurt my hands making my fishing lure a few weeks prior to the accident.
Thank you. It is clear to us that Sai has no clear motive. They have tried to patch things up with Milo before. Sai has clearly learned her lesson from the incident at the high school and would not do something like that. Thank you.
The prosecution may cross-examine the witness.
On the day of October 26th, where did you go after you and Hubbard? When you and Miss Hubbard interacted?
I left to Cover Park, a small green space in Duckington that I've been to since I was a kid. I just wanted to clear my head.
On that day, when did you delete your Facebook account?
I wanted to come back to Row to see if I could talk to Marlo again. I deleted my Facebook account on the way back.
Have you gone to the Digby prior to the concert on October 26th?
We opened for Sturgill Sampson a few months prior to the accident.
Have you ever been a concert goer at the Digby?
Yes, it's one of our most visited concert venues.
Has anyone ever gotten injured because of anything?
For the addition of the side exit, someone tripped and fell on the stairs as they were attempting to leave the theater after a concert.
So, despite knowing how people can get injured because of there only being one side, one door, and since the side door was being blocked, as you knew, you did not tell Hubbard when you interacted with her. Is that correct?
No, I didn't tell Marlo.
Thank you.
The witness, please step down. Defense, may I call you to second witness? Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the jury?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
How are you related to this case?
I'm the marketing manager at Feldman Seed Farm, but I'm also a huge music super fan. I especially love Destination Configuration. I've been to many shows at the Digsby. I've been going there since I was in high school, including going to the Caney Diggett concert every year. When I heard what Cy was accused of, I just couldn't believe it. That doesn't seem like something Cy would do.
Can you recall the events of the concert?
The concert is essentially an all-day block party, so the city closes off the main area in front of the theater. During the day, I went in and out on the main staircase multiple times, but there didn't seem to be much foot traffic, so I assume if the other side entrance was blocked that it would have been more busy or someone would have said something. About an hour and a half before Destination Conflagration was supposed to hit the stage, I ran into Cy at the main entrance. We chatted for a bit, and I went back into the theater after getting her autograph. Right before Destination Conflagration was supposed to go on, I bumped into Jet, where I learned that there was a bomb threat. As I was hurrying to get as many people out as I could while going to the main entrance, I heard a loud bang, and I got out safely.
Explain your interaction with Cy.
I'm a huge fan of hers, so I obviously had to go up and ask for an autograph, which I did. She said yes, but she'd have to make it quick because she just called a cab. We chatted for a bit after I'd gotten her autograph when her cab pulled up. I think it was a few minutes before 4:30. She said she was going 30 minutes outside of town to meet with the record producer.
Are you certain the loud noise was a bomb?
No, I heard a really loud bang, not necessarily a bomb, just a loud noise.
Explain your interaction with Jet at the concert.
I was moving for a better view in the theater when I bumped into Jet. he was writing something on Facebook, and when I said hello, he seemed really startled, which is surprising because there were so many people around us. I introduced myself, but he cut me off and showed me his Facebook post. My first reaction was pure shock that Cy wasn't going to be playing, but he said I was missing the point, that this was his huge story, that someone was making a bomb threat. I realized it was a dangerous situation, so I rushed to get as many people out, and I assume he's doing the same thing, but I couldn't see him.
That is all, Your Honor.
The prosecution may cross-examine the witness.
Can you tell us about the conversation between you and Cy? Well, I said hello, and I asked for her autograph. She gave it to me, and she said she had just called a cab, that she was meeting a record producer, and when that's outside of town, and that was all. And when you approached her, did she seem nervous? She put her phone away in her pocket, I assume out of politeness. Sorry, a bunch of questions. What time did Cy's cab come? A few minutes ago. And you say that you say that you're pretty positive because and were you positive of this? I wasn't really looking at my watch, but I think so. Okay, I'd like to submit a piece of evidence. Did you see this Facebook post? Yes, Jet showed it to me. And were you one of the first people to know, or was everyone already wishing out? No, he showed it to me, and then I tried to tell as many people as I could, and then the loud bang went off. That will be all. Thank you.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness. May the witness stand to be sworn in by the jury.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Please explain your educational background.
I attended Oregon State University in 2002 and earned a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. And then I tried to become a firefighter, but failed the test a few times. So I went back to Oregon State University and earned a master's also in civil engineering in 2005.
What experience do you have in inspecting buildings, and what type of buildings do you inspect?
I started out my career in building inspecting at Rose Inspections Division, and then I got fired for accidentally missing a couple of details while inspecting an old courthouse. But I definitely learned my lesson about paying attention to detail. And now I own my own business called Inspection Perfection, and I inspect home and commercial buildings.
Explain what you found at the Digby Theater.
Immediately as I entered the Digby, I could tell from the inside layout that I was sure to find something unsafe. And I actually found what was jamming the side door. There was an old guitar string jammed in the door.
Does the Digby Theater follow the Rowe Fire Code?
Technically, the Digby Theater does barely pass the Rowe Fire Code. However, the Rowe Fire Code is just kind of the bare minimum. And in my opinion, for the Digby Theater to be completely safe, it should have a third exit because in the Rowe Fire Code it says the 2 exits, max occupancy of building should be about 300 to 500. And the Digby Theater's max capacity is 500 people. So it's barely meeting the requirements, and in my opinion, it should have a third exit to be safe.
So do you think from the beginning the Digby Theater was safe or not?
I do not believe the Digby Theater was safe. I think they should have put in a third exit.
The witness can step down. Wait. The prosecution may cross-examine the witness.
It's been a year since you've inspected anything other than a single-family home, is this correct?
Yes, it is.
Did you get fired from your job?
Yes, I got fired because I accidentally missed a couple details. But I definitely learned my lesson when I do that.
Can you explain the safety requirements for a building?
As I said, for 2 exits, there has to be 300 to 500 people, and for 3 exits, it's over 500 people. Yeah.
Does the Digby meet all the safety requirements? A simple yes or no will suffice.
No.
I would bet.
It's fair to say that Digby Theater is technically compliant with the requirements of Rose Fire Code. For that reason, it might appear at first glance that
Do you think there could have been any malicious intent behind a guitar string jammed into the side exit?
I suppose so. I don't know. All I know is when I was inspecting the Digby, I decided to inspect the side door to decide if it was safe, and I found an old guitar string jammed in the doorknob.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Witness may step down. defense have any more witnesses to call?
The defense rests.
Both the prosecution and the defense have now rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their final arguments. Please remember, what the attorneys say is not evidence. However, do listen closely. They are intended to aid you in understanding the case. Prosecution, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Olivia. My name is Olivia Thane, and I will present the closing argument for the prosecution. You have heard the story of how, on October 26, 2019, just after 6 p.m., former band member of Destination Conflagration, Cy Miles, posted what fans took as a bomb threat right before the band was supposed to play. As people began to see the post and evacuate the theater, a loud bang from the pyrotechnics exploding caused a surge of panic throughout the crowd. A build-up around the side door caused various injuries and the death of a fan, Janet Johnson. Just hours before, around 4 p.m., music journalist Jet Jones saw Miles messing around with the pyrotechnics on the stage with a wrench before quickly leaving. Around the same time, Marlo Hubbard testified to have seen Miles lingering around the side door with something in her pockets, and later during the stampede saw that the side door was locked. That's not all. When Ari Frankel was inspecting the side exit, not only did she find that the building met all the safety requirements, but she also found a twisted piece of metal jammed in the side door, and when she took it out, she confirmed it to be an old guitar string. This guitar string was jammed in the same door Cy was lingering around hours before while messing with something in her pockets. Cy mentioned her hands were injured from a fishing lure a few days prior, but could it be that the fishing lure was actually the guitar string that was jammed in the side door? Despite these being different accounts, they all have one major thing in common. Undoubtedly, Cy Miles is guilty of these crimes. Not only did she intend to cause public inconvenience when she posted the thread directed toward a crowded theater on Facebook, but she also caused the death of an innocent human being through her reckless behavior. Given the loss of Janet Jobson and injuries and distress of various other concertgoers, we ask that while making your decision, you look back at the tragic loss of Janet Jobson and protect the future safety of concertgoers by finding the defendant, Cy Miles, guilty of manslaughter in the first degree and disorderly conduct in the second degree. Thank you, Your Honor.
You may proceed with your closing argument.
Your Honor, members of the jury, my name is Emily Armstrong, and I will be presenting the closing statements for defense. As we all know, a terrible tragedy has occurred. Janet Jobson has passed away from the trampoline in the Digby Theater on October 26th. It is very common for people to want to find someone to blame for a calamity such as the given situation. However, this trial is about deciding whether my client, Cy Miles, is, beyond a reasonable doubt, guilty. Now, let's recall the charges made against her. Cy Miles has been charged with manslaughter in the first degree and disorderly conduct in the second. The disorderly conduct is based purely on the presumption that Cy created the Facebook post that was a bomb threat and advised the audience to evacuate the theater. However, the only reason they have to blame they have to blame Cy for the account is that the first two letters of cynical songwriter, the account name, match the letters of Cy's name. To charge someone purely on this coincidence is preposterous. The charge of manslaughter is supported only on the presumption of the disorderly conduct. Prosecution has told you that Cy created the post, that Cy jammed the door, and that Cy caused the bang during the show, and that Cy is responsible for Janet Jobson's death. However, this is simply untrue. Now, people of the jury, let's go into some more detail about the claims made against her. The first claim I would like to address is that Cy created the account a cynical songwriter and made the post that caused the panic. However, there's no evidence proving the cynical songwriter was Cy, as the account could have been made by anyone in the Digby Theater. Additionally, the account cynical songwriter was deleted on October 31st, 5 days after October 26th, the day Cy's phone was confiscated and his Facebook account was deleted. Does this claim prove that Cy is beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? I think not. The next claim I would like to address is that Cy jammed the door by using his guitar string, which is what caused the bruise on his finger. However, there's no evidence that Cy jammed the door because there was no camera footage or witness. Now, regarding the bruise on Cy's finger, there's no evidence to suggest that it was caused by anything but working on fishing lure prior to the day of the concert, which was Cy's explanation for it. Does this claim prove that Cy is beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? I think not. Another claim I would like to address is that because Cy was seen on stage by Marlo messing with the pyrotechnics prior to the show, Marlo claims that they saw Cy on the stage before the show. However, Cy disagrees with this claim. She thinks it was Marlo on the stage messing with the pyrotechnics. And since there's no camera footage, there's no way to prove that Cy was on stage, so this claim should not be considered in the finding of the verdict. Does this claim prove that Cy is beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? I think not. Another claim I would like to address is that because Cy searched criminal penalties for threat, it apparently indicates that he was going to make a threat. However, simply searching something on one's own personal device does not entail that one is going to commit a crime. I know every one of us here has searched something random and unimportant before, and the fact that Cy has done just that does not prove that does not relate to this case. Does this claim prove that Cy is beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? I think not. Another claim I would like to address is that Jet Jones saw Cy on stage messing with the pyrotechnics. However, Jet Jones is an active Facebook influencer and reporter. He has a history about lying about the truth to make a better story. It is very possible that he would have lied about the truth to make a more entertaining post. Does this claim prove that Cy is beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? I think not. Another claim I would like to address is that because Cy knew the door was jammed and didn't tell anyone, that was a crime in itself. However, there's no way that he could have known whether or not the building staff already knew. The responsibility of knowing if the door is accessible does not fall on Cy, but rather the building staff. Additionally, the exits should have been checked before the concert even started. The last claim I would like to address is that because Cy already has a criminal record related to pranks and payback, he's more likely to commit this crime. And to that I say, Cy Miles did commit first-degree arson at a young age, which she admitted to. She received probation and community service, which she completed without incident. An unintended crime which resulted from a high school prank, which she pleaded guilty to and carried out the punishment of, should not relate to the verdict of this case. Does this claim prove that Cy is beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? I think not. Once again, people of the jury, I would like to address that a terrible incident has occurred, but blaming innocent Cy Miles is not going to take that back. Just look at her face. Does that look like the face of a criminal? A face that when she made a mistake in her youth, she pleaded guilty to. A face that when she was only 18, she already had the moral values to plead guilty to something that didn't even harm anyone. If she thought that she was responsible for this devastation, do you think it seems in character for her to not plead guilty and receive the punishment? However, she did not commit this crime, and her undertaking the punishment will not make it right. Cy is not responsible for this. Cy is not responsible for this crime, and there's no evidence proving that she was. Today we have heard from a lot of people, and a lot of evidence has been shared. Your job today is not to figure out what happened, or even who is responsible, but rather whether or not prosecution has fulfilled the burden of proof and presented enough evidence to ensure that Cy Miles is, beyond a reasonable doubt, guilty. I think we can all agree that they have not. So today, I ask and advise you on behalf of innocent Cy Miles to come to the verdict of not guilty. Thank you for your time.
Members of the jury, you have heard all the testimony concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine the facts. You and you alone are the judges of the fact. Once you decide what facts the evidence proves, you must then apply the law as I give it to you to the facts as you find. In just a moment, the bailiff will take you to the jury room to consider your verdict. One of the first things you will want to do is to select a foreperson that will preside over your deliberations the way that a chairperson does at the meeting. It will be the foreperson's duty to sign the verdict form when you have agreed on a verdict. Whatever verdict you render must be unanimous. That is, each and every person must agree on the same verdict. The bailiff will now escort you to the deliberation.
All rise.
And everyone breathe.
Oh, that's nice microphone.
Look at this man.
Okay, now is
Have you reached a verdict? What say you? Thank you, jury, for your service today. Court is adjourned.